Hello guys and welcome back to TierSpec TV. I'm taking a break from the Defender this weekend to do some work on the Jimny, and I don't know if it's the changing of the seasons or what's going on, but I just find myself more and more enamored with this car recently. As time goes on, I find myself wanting to drive it more, looking online for inspiration for different mods to do, etc. So yeah, I felt like doing that today, and I've still got a bunch of mods lying around from when I bought it that I haven't got around to fitting yet, and I want to get on with fitting those so I can use them, particularly as winter is coming. So today we're going to be fitting some LED rear brake light units. These I bought from Jimny Style, where I've bought all the mods for the Jimny so far, in fact. And you might be wondering why I've taken the wheel off to do this job, and that's because we need to remove this unit, and to do that there's a few nuts on the back of it in here that we need to remove, and there's actually not a lot of space here, I guess because this kind of this is so chunky and it's not as tall as the Defender. If you look at the Defender by comparison, there's a generous amount of space to get into the back there. But this being a more modern car and a slightly lower ride height, there's not as much space in here. So it takes 5 minutes to jack the car up, get the wheels off, and then we can more easily access this space in here. I believe these lights are actually inspired by the design on the Mercedes G-Wagon, not because it says that anywhere, but just because I happen to be following one recently, and I noticed that it has exactly the same sort of U-shape ring here around the light, very similar design. And of course people make a lot of comparisons between Jimnys and G-Wagons and Defenders, etc. In fact, Jimny often gets called a mini G-Wagon online in videos and articles and things. So I imagine that is meant to look like the light unit from the G-Wagon, but yeah, I think they look very cool, and we get all the benefits of LED lights, of course, which will be very nice, and it should be a relatively simple job. Often famous last words, but that's normally referring to the Defender, which is a bit more, well, rusty and, yes, British. This will hopefully not be a particularly complicated job, but let's give it a go. The only potential obstacle I think we might run into today is the fact that when I bought this Jimny, I did have it treated with some rust protection solution, and it means that the whole underside is all sort of black and sticky. I mean, it's also muddy at the moment. I did do my best to try and pressure wash out this corner of the bumper right here to get as much as the mud off, but like I said, it's still sort of covered in this sticky residue everywhere, which does make working on the underside a bit awkward. It's only 3 nuts, I think, that we need to get off from that space. It's just a matter of finding them. You can see there's one there, and there's one up here, so I clearly didn't do a good enough job of washing, because there's one buried under the mud right there, and then I think there should be a third one down there. That might be a bit more awkward to get to. And these are not done up tightly whatsoever. Well, they're almost like finger loose. Yes, got it. Woohoo! That's number 3, so I think this should just come out now. Just got to be careful, of course, that I don't, like, shove it out and it falls to the floor and smashes. Ah, there we go. That did the trick. There's something soft underneath it. Oh my god, there's a lot of mud in there. Yeah, that's going to need a good clean. Bulbs out. Now there is a cool little bonus feature, you could say, with these lights, and that's to do with this on-off switch on the back here. And what that does is enables or disables a sweeping indicator light motion, which I'm sure you would have seen on many modern cars. They have this effect where the indicator light sort of sweeps from one side to the other rather than just an on-off flashing. I actually think I'm going to leave this in the off position, as cool as it is, I guess. For me, it just doesn't really suit the character of a car like this, a sort of basic agricultural 4x4, and some of you might also say, well, you're fitting G-Wagon style LED lights to your Jimny, so that doesn't suit the character of the car. And you might have a point, but personally, I just think, I don't know, I just think simple vehicle, simple light style, that makes more sense in my mind. I'd rather have that. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave that off. Now we obviously need to make sure we keep these in the right order. I just need to remove the bulbs, he says. There we go. There's one. We just plug it back in. And we just feed the wire back into the unit here. And then feed that one into the bumper again. As much as we can. Does it go any further? Okay. that should be in place. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere before we put the nuts on, but I'm just going to go turn the ignition on just to double check that it's all working. I think what has made this one particularly awkward is the fact that I have this bar here for the tow bar, which I guess if you didn't have, it would be much easier, but I suppose most Jimnys probably do have that. Please get tighter. Please get tighter. Yes, there we go. And now for the best part. And now we can get a nice side-by-side look at before and after, and it probably doesn't show up on camera, but I can tell you that this side is a lot brighter than that one. Plus it just looks cool. In hindsight, I don't think it was actually necessary to take the wheels off, although this one I never took off, it's still in place. Because there's two nuts which are right here, I can see from where I'm sitting, and then there's the one further to the inside of the vehicle, which anyway you kind of need to get underneath to get to it, and then taking the wheel off doesn't make any difference. So I think this one, I'm actually just gonna leave the wheel on and see if I can do it this way. So let's see, yeah, that one I can access, no problem, that's already coming off. So there's one, and then the one in the top corner here, just also covered in mud on this side. Okay, would it be easier with the wheels off? Yes, technically. But is it absolutely necessary? No, not really. You know what? Oh, it just fell out. There we go. There's two. And now we got to get that lovely third one. Oh, there we go. I think that actually works quite well, that trim removal tool. There we go. That came out nice. Oh my god. A lot of water just came out. At least this is all plastic. So, you know, although there's a lot of mud and water here, it's not doing too much harm, I suppose. Now on this side, we're going to need to fit this resistor. This is actually different depending on whether you have a left or right-hand drive Jimny. And I've just been watching the Jimny Style's own tutorial video for fitting these lights, and they say that on the left-hand drive model you need to fit it on this side and the reverse for a right-hand drive model, and that's because on this side is the reversing light, and on a right-hand drive model the lights are swapped around, so you have the reversing light and the fog light swapped around, and I think this one is the reversing light, which is what we need to fit this resistor to. So that's applied with the kit. And then we have these clamps, which we need to get onto these cables here. And what they recommend in their video is something like a trim removal tool, which is exactly what I have here, to just press the wire into this here. So make sure we get a good electrical connection, and then we can clamp it down. Okay, and then this, we need to stick it somewhere. It's got this double-sided tape on the back. And the tutorial recommends just feeding it back through this hole into the bumper, because there's nowhere to stick it in this space once the light unit is in. So we can just feed that back into there. Hopefully this is all going to fit. And then we've got to remove these bulbs, of course. Oh, it's getting chilly. And then let's go get the new unit. So the right-hand side light unit is now in. I got a little bit worried when I was putting it in because the indicator kept just flashing, like one flash. And I was like, uh-oh, what have I done? Have I screwed up the wiring or something? Turns out I was just accidentally pressing the unlock and lock button from the keys in my pocket, like I guess pressing it against the ground or something. And when you unlock or lock the car, the lights flash. So I was just pressing the key in my pocket. And I got really worried then. But just tested it all, it's all working, and now I just need to do it all up so it's nice and secure, which I will do very quickly now because the wind is really picking up and it's getting pretty darn cold out here. So I'll do that and then we'll have an update. So to fast forward a little, I have now secured the right-hand side light unit. The lights are all done and working nicely. There's one thing I did forget to mention in the intro, and that's these right here. I have also got a set of LED number plate lights as well. So there's a couple of lights just up here in the bumper as well, which you can just very easily replace with those. Well, I say very easily. I'm actually not going to do it right now because when I was lying underneath, I couldn't see an easy way to access them. And I think it's largely because of this bar that basically holds on the tow bar. It blocks quite a lot of access to the rear bumper, so if you have that, it's quite difficult to get up in there. So I'm just going to leave it for now. It's a very small thing anyway, and this is the biggest visual change, of course, these lights. I know there's going to be a mod at some point where we need to get this Jimny up on a lift, and then it will probably be much easier to just stand underneath it and get those little LED number plate lights in. So I'm going to leave that right now. I don't want to do any more today. But there is something I want to do today, which I haven't done for a very long time. Okay, I didn't mean to get all mysterious on you. I just wanted to come out and take some pictures of the Jimny, because back with the Defender, I always used to come out and just do a photo session, go and find spots and take pictures for the sake of taking pictures. And I realized that not only have I not done that with the Jimny, I've not really taken any pictures with it, apart from sort of the things I had to do, like thumbnail images for videos and, you know, taking a few pictures for the reveal video. But now it looks very different with the modifications and so on. And I realized that I basically don't have any pictures of this car. So I really wanted to come out into the forest and just take some nice pictures, especially with those lights that look really, really cool. It's a little bit dark and gloomy, but that kind of works because I love this sort of ring shape, bright ring shape on the new lights. It looks really, really good. There's another mod on this actually, which I've done, which I didn't do a video on, and I don't know how many of you have noticed. And that would be the wheels. I changed the wheels quite a long time ago now. I'm talking like several months ago. And I did want to do a video on it. I did a sort of introduction to a video where I unboxed them and then never kind of did the second part. Also because I think I didn't feel there was enough content for, you know, a video just on wheels necessarily. So I never really sort of, finished it. But yeah, the Jimny has different wheels. And now also the other thing is there's been several videos featuring the Jimny with these wheels. So I feel like weird to do a sort of reveal of like, I've got new wheels when they've been there for quite a while now. But also a big change in that has been the fact that there's a fifth one as well, because when I got the Jimny, it already had all-terrain tires. That was something I wanted, and it had alloy wheels, but the spare one was a steel wheel with a different, like a road tire, basically, rather than an all-terrain tire. And it always bugs me when you have 4x4s like this with the spare on the door, when they have four, you know, all-terrain, mud-terrain, whatever tires, and then the fifth one is just like a skinny little road tire on a different kind of alloy or rim or whatever. I don't know, it always looks wrong for me, and I love when you have like the bulky, chunky off-road wheel on the spare as well. It just looks so much cooler. So that really bothered me, and I wanted to change that out. It was also part of the reason I changed all the wheels. Well, I just wanted to change them, but also I wanted that fifth one, so I ordered an extra fifth all-terrain tire to match the set, and of course a set of 5 new alloys. And these are from Jimny Style as well. It's their own brand, High Peak. This is a sort of slightly retro-looking, almost looks like a steel wheel, actually, but it is an alloy. And there's so many wheels I like on Jimnys that I change my mind every 5 minutes on them. But that's the thing with them. It's like Defenders. You know, if I had the money, I would have multiple Defenders in multiple, you know, in different variations, different builds, because there's not just like one that I like. And it's the same thing with this. I think if money were no object, the wheel I would have gone for is the Bradley 5, I think they're called, which is the wheel that Twisted now use on their Jimnys. You may have seen. However, these ones happened to be on sale at some point, 20% off, and they were basically 50% of the price of a set of Bradley 5 wheels, and I like these as well, so I decided to go with these. The Bradleys were very expensive for a set of 5. And one other thing I've done as well is in here, but you can't actually see it. I fitted rear speakers to this Jimny as well in the last few months, which are now behind these grills. Actually a fairly easy thing to do because the wiring is all there. So this is the commercial variant of the Jimny. So no rear seats, and you have this big dog guard thing, which means no rear speakers, but they leave the wiring in. So you just need to buy some speakers that fit, and then you can go to Jimny Style and buy the rear speaker upgrade kit, they call it, which is just some brackets, which are actually Suzuki's own parts, I believe. It's not like an aftermarket thing. You're just buying the Suzuki parts, and then Jimny style, I think, throw in a few other bits to help you fit it. Yeah, you just have to remove this plastic trim, which is fairly easy, and fit the speakers. Because you may remember, I found out the front speakers had already been upgraded. I bought the kit, I bought new speakers, found out that they already had been upgraded because I thought they were awful. Played around with the equalizer settings and managed to improve them a bit, but still wasn't completely happy with the quality of the sound. And some people suggested doing the rear speaker upgrade because they said it would actually help quite a lot. And it did. I didn't think adding a couple more speakers would make that much difference. I just assumed, you know, it was just like the speakers themselves were not good enough, but actually just adding, and they're the same as the front, just adding 2 more in the back really sort of filled out the sound. Does make it a lot better. It makes it a bit nicer, a bit more usable. So that's 2 upgrades I've done since you would have last seen the Jimny, I think, that I didn't do a sort of dedicated video on, and there's still much more I want to do. I've still got a couple more mods at home waiting to be fitted, but now, and I thought that was going to be it, but now I'm just finding more and more things that I want to do to this. Like I said, I don't know what it is. Even though I've had this car for quite a while now, it's only recently that I've really started to properly enjoy it and understand it. I don't know why. Maybe I've been out of boxy 4x4s for too long, having not driven the Defender, with it being off the road. Who knows? But yeah, I've really fallen in love with the Jimny lately, and I just want to do more and more stuff with it. In particular, I love, again, to bring back the twisted Jimny. I really like the style that they've done, and it's actually a relatively easy thing. I don't think they use a lot of bespoke parts. So if I wanted, I could probably make this look a lot like a twisted Jimny. For example, changing out the grille is something I'm quite tempted to do. There's a couple of options. Either you replace this with what's called the retro, I think retro or heritage or something, grille instead, which is just a slightly different shape. Instead of these vertical slats, you just have like one big hole in the middle, which I like the look of, and you can just get it in this unpainted plastic look, or you can order it painted in the color of the Jimny, which I think looks really smart. And again, this is what Twisted do with theirs, or what Twisted did on their the first Jimny they built. I think it was the first anyway, because it was like the demo vehicle or the press car or whatever you want to call it, was paint the original grille in the body color, which I think looks really cool. So I could also do that. That would be a bit more work, arguably, because I need to find someone to paint it for me and color match it to the body, or I could order the retro style grille and have that painted when I order it. I don't know, but I'm quite keen on changing that out now. But then sometimes I look at it and I like it how it is. Like I said, there's so many cool, so many different ways you can do these cars, and I like all of them. So, and on that point, should I get a roof rack? I don't know. Another thing I've been thinking about, a lot of Jimnys have a roof rack. I think it's a front runner one that most people go for. Again, a popular item from Jimny style. And I really don't have a need for a roof rack. I'm not going to turn it into a camper, frankly, and I'm not going to do like big overlanding trips on it where I need to put jerry cans and stuff on the top. So do I really need one? I don't think so. I think the only thing I would ever use it for is putting our Christmas tree on the top of it when we go and get that every year. But for some reason, I really like how they look with roof racks on the top. It also enables you, it gives you a way to mount lights. You can have a LED light bar mounted up there as well. And work lights on the rear. Gives you a really easy way to do that. And with most cars, most 4x4s, if you ask me to, just based on the looks, not talking about function at all, if you ask me to say, do I prefer it with or without a roof rack, I'd probably say without looks better. With these, for some reason, I think they look good with a roof rack. I don't know if it's just because the proportions, like, it's a little bit short, if you like. Maybe it just sort of fills out the shape, makes it look a bit tougher. I just like how they look with a roof rack. I don't know why, but I don't want to be that guy that has a roof rack for the sake of having a roof rack. But anyway, the main focus of this video, of course, was the lights, and I'm really happy with how those turned out. Some of you might think it's overkill for a basic little 4x4 like this, but I love it. And I'm just loving this Jimny. I think soon I will do a sort of 6-month living with a Jimny review as well, giving my thoughts on it. And frankly, it's been a fantastic kind of support vehicle to the Defender build as well, so that I still have a 4x4 and something I can can tow a trailer with. You know, I used it for towing the Defender's chassis recently. Maybe that's why I'm suddenly falling in love with it, because I've actually been using it for what it's meant for, though I still need to do some proper off-roading with it. Haven't really done any, but yeah, you can see it's nice and muddy, and autumn is coming, so the forest looks amazing. We need to get out here in the mud, in the beautiful colors, and do some off-roading with this thing very soon. And there's a mod that will help with that as well, that I've got ready at home to fit. Just need to get around to fitting it. But that was it for this video. That's enough of my rambling for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.